All right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and I want to start off today by saying that this is MicroStrategy's unrealized profit and loss for their Bitcoin holding. Of course, they hold an enormous amount of Bitcoin on their corporate treasury, and you can see here we are right around break even. For a long time, they were underwater, as you can see, and they are just about to tick into unrealized profit on their massive, I think it's about 153,000 Bitcoin that they're currently holding. So expect as Bitcoin's price to start ticking up, MicroStrategy's profit to start to increase. Of course, Michael Saylor has decided to add so much Bitcoin to the corporate treasury because there is clear evidence that Bitcoin is indeed a hedge against the debasement of a currency. So whilst $1 lost 17% of its purchasing power since just 2020, Bitcoin has gained over 200% in that same time frame. And I think a lot of people don't realize at this moment in time, but we are going to go a lot higher, a lot faster than most people can even imagine. People have very short memories, okay? Recency bias is a real thing. And it seems that people have forgotten that Bitcoin likes to go completely vertical every few years, okay? People have no problem remembering that Bitcoin can go near vertical to the downside, right? But they seem to have very short memories about Bitcoin's ability to do Bitcoin things and go vertical to the upside. Technically speaking, this Bitcoin chart is a thing of beauty. I want to first of all draw your attention to this head and shoulders target of around 34K, okay? So we have an inverse head and shoulders right here, as you can see, with that classic 25K neckline, that critical 25K neckline that I've been talking about, and the whole time I've been very consistent in saying it was malpractice to be bearish above 25K. And of course, if we take the measured move from these lows up here, right, to this 25K range, and then extrapolate it out above, this is where this 34K measured move target comes from. So that's target one, 34K. But there's also another target here, because if I draw your eyes to this current rectangle, right, and here's the top, and again, we do the measured move, the distance from the bottom to the top of this, and extrapolate it out, we get a target of 38K Bitcoin. So Bitcoin continues to do Bitcoin things. And like I said, people have forgotten that Bitcoin has this ability to just do this. Okay, I'm not saying this will happen, but I'm saying it has happened plenty of times in the past. It's also worth noting, if we draw a channel like this and draw another one, we might even be able to see as high as 48 to 50K. And that, of course, would line up quite nicely with this little cluster from back here. So again, I say Bitcoin continues to do Bitcoin things. Like I said, people have forgotten Bitcoin has this ability to go near vertical, even though it's very fresh in everyone's minds that it can go vertical downwards like it did here, right? And a lot of people still out here saying this is a big bull trap and 12K or 10K or 8K has to come next. But of course it doesn't, okay? This is certainly on the cards, as I've been saying over and over again. Like I said, there's still plenty of people out there that are telling you Bitcoin's next sell-off has just begun and it was all a bull trap and bulls are about to get wrecked. But remember, these people, there's a way to tell, isn't there, okay? They like to shill an altcoin project at the end of their video after they tell you to stay away from Bitcoin. And I'm just here to tell you, okay, nothing against this dude. It's simply that you want to be careful, okay? Just be careful. Keep a logical head on. Just because Bitcoin's price is going up and you're going to start to see more and more altcoins flying, that does not mean the number one strategy is to be all in altcoins and neglect Bitcoin, okay? Bitcoin is far safer. Bitcoin is not susceptible to rug pulls. It's not susceptible to you waking up tomorrow morning and it being 99% down, okay? Like so many altcoins are. So just have a bit of reason, okay? Be careful who you follow. And again, just like that previous slide I just showed you, okay? There's still plenty of people out there saying that we have to do a replay of 2019. This is the 2019, okay? The C19 plunge, the C19 crash. And of course, first we went up here and then we had this big dip down, right, to retest the lows. And a lot of people keep saying that just because that's what we did here, we've got to do it again, okay? We've got to do this and then plunge to retest the lows or even undercut them, like I said, to go to 10 or 12K or whatever. And then from there, it's bull mode time. But I really think, to be completely honest, the people championing this, one, they don't understand charts. And two, it's probably because they missed out on this entire move. They don't actually have a position. They're just hoping and begging and praying that Bitcoin's going to come down here so they can load up so it can then fire off and go to the moon. But if we have a look closely at this portion of the chart, okay, it actually looks nothing like this in the current moment. The current moment that we're in, this section here, looks exactly like this bit here, okay? Look, divergence or downtrend into this green horizontal support, and then this thing fires up and Bitcoin does what? It goes immediately parabolic. Again, we're not in this zone here, okay? This current moment in time at the hard right edge looks a lot more like this, okay? And of course, if we follow this up, what happened? Bitcoin went parabolic thereafter. And again, at the hard right edge of the chart, we are right in this neighborhood to start to see this unfold at the bottom. And that should indeed correlate with this at the top, okay? So Bitcoin can do Bitcoin things. Just remember, yeah, goldfish memory. This guy gets it, okay? Just because Bitcoin has gone down sharply in the past does not mean that we have to have a repeat of this at the moment. So I'm not going to spend too much time in the charts since we did all the charts and examined the closes over the weekend. I just want to point out a few things, okay? Here's the Dixie, still not broken out. So could happen, but it hasn't happened yet. All the while it's contained under this, we should expect further downside. I'm also keeping a firm eye on the euro dollar. Why? Because the euro makes up around 57% of the dollar basket. And if this breakout is going to continue to follow through, that should continue to pressure the dollar to the downside. So keeping a strong eye on this, I'd really like to see the euro dollar break out above that local high from back here. And that would confirm this breakout is for real and would likely send the dollar into a strong and significant downtrend. I'll hop in and check on Bitcoin, haven't we? Because Bitcoin is doing Bitcoin things. Let me pull this thing out the way. Look at this, okay? We're still doing Bitcoin things. There's a little bit more work to do. We really need to get above this local high cluster. Let me highlight it for you from back here. We need to break above that decisively on a daily closing basis. And then that sets up that run to 34, 38, 42K shortly thereafter. But there is still some work to do. We do still have to get above this high cluster back here. Gold still seems to be breaking out, and it's been a while since I checked in on silver. People are asking me to check in on silver. I think the last position we took was a trendline breakout of here. I think that got stopped out, and then now we're just kind of redrawing this trend line, and we have indeed got a breakout. But for me in silver, I'm not really interested in this, and I'll tell you why, okay? Look at gold blasting off. Now, normally when gold blasts off, silver blasts off even stronger, even more rapidly, right? But that's not what is happening right now. Is it? That is not what's happening. This is lagging behind gold massively, and so are the miners. Now, that could change, but look, this miner position, I expected this to be more explosive than gold, and it's right around break even, whereas if I'd have played the gold breakout from here, the breakout retest resumption, you know, I would have been significantly more in profit than I would have been on the miner position, right? So something is a myth here. Because normally when gold blasts off, you'd expect silver to outperform and you'd expect the miners to outperform as well. But of course, that is not what we're seeing at the moment. So can I continue to cover silver? Yes, I can do that. It's been a while, but the fact that it's underperforming tells me that something is not quite right. If I zoom out, you can see this big red downward sloping resistance line for silver. That is the line that I'm focused on the most, okay? Yeah, we can play these short-term bounces out of these downward sloping blue resistance line breaks. But for me, the big silver trade is going to look something like this, okay? So is that coming? Yes. I don't personally think it's coming till next year. I honestly don't. I don't think the true bull market for gold comes until next year. So could we see this follow through? Yes. Maybe a decline into a daily cycle low and then go again, and then maybe another one, and then this. And then probably as we get into that deflationary bust era of next year, we have one final dive down, and then we enter that big bull market, okay? That's my thoughts. But I do think that silver and the miners are telling us that this move might not be as real as people think it is, because otherwise silver would be firing off, the miners would be outperforming, and we're just not seeing that at the moment. So anyway, I'll start to cover the gold and silver a little bit more as requested, but I don't think there's a great deal to say at this moment in time, at least. A lot of people still really don't like this oil short. I don't know why you care. I don't know why you care that I'm short oil just because you think it's going up. If you think it's going up, go long. But a lot of people seem to get triggered by this, but I kind of like that. If everyone's expecting higher oil, then I'd rather be on the other side. Either way, you know, breakdown, retest, possible resumption. It's got some work to do, hasn't it? This could really go either way at this moment, but it's a free trade because the stock's moved to break even. So we'll keep pushing this short. Did want to point this out, okay? Coinbase, if we can get a breakout, then I think I could probably add this long today or this week at least. MicroStrategy is firing up, so we'll see. I don't really have a very nice entry here. It's kind of going to be difficult to get in. We could do something like this and size the position down really small, but I'm not entirely sure I like that as a trade. So some kind of pullback maybe, and we can get in. Coinbase is obviously a lot easier, right? If we get a breakout, then the stock goes below the lows and the trade looks all right. But MicroStrategy, not as nice. Riot, again, kind of half weak, isn't it? And half not. So if this is a bottom and it's looking to pull out of here, then again, we can get long soon. But I don't think now is the time. And again, Marathon, if this can start to fire off here, then again, I can add the long for Marathon and see what the market can give. So I'm still kind of hoping to add these minor positions, but because the stock market is in the state it is, I mean, look at the VIX, right? I was expecting this top to come in here as the cycle low form for the S&P. It hasn't done that. It's kept firing off. And the futures, that's why I got this tab open. around 200 points down for the Dow at the moment and 112 for the NASDAQ. So that does tell us we're going to sweep these lows, aren't we? Okay, maybe not for the Dow, but certainly for the S&P, that is going to sweep these lows. Probably the NASDAQ as well, likely at least to be down in this low range, probably going to sweep these lows. As I said over the weekend, we want to see these things reverse sharply and go. Otherwise, we're going to start to have to open up the possibility that we've got multiple downside cycles to unfold. So the bears will, of course, claim they were right, even though they missed the entire move on the way up. But it is what it is. We'll deal with it one day at a time. For now, let's see how the closes are today. The closes will be important because if we wick down here and close back up here, that sets up a nice upside rally, doesn't it? But if we start to close daily closes below the local lows, then that sets up a nasty bit of downside over the next cycle at least. So as ever, Bitcoin doing Bitcoin things. I remain optimistic, but the closes are going to be important. We do need to see some reversal out of the stock market, and we need to see it immediately if it's going to set up further upside. As I said, still looking for those minor positions to add, and of course I'll update you if I do that. In the meantime, welcome to the week, welcome to Monday, and I'm your boy Camel. Until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.